What a beautiful, beautiful day outside, you guys. If it wasn't still February, I will probably already be thinking about cleaning my flower beds and start working outside here. But this is what we call the fall spring here in Indiana. We're gonna have many of these before the actual true spring arrives. But I have a few things to do today, so I figured I would just take you outside, have you enjoy through the screen this beautiful, sunny, almost 65-degree weather day here. And I mean, this is very, very unusual for this time of year, but I'm not complaining. I am just enjoying this gorgeous, gorgeous weather. I collected these seeds. These are hyacinth bean seed pods. I collected them last year. Look at that. They were ready to be picked from their vines, and I didn't really have the time to get them out of the seed pads, but that's what I'm going to be doing today. I mean, I get one of these days here like this, and you cannot just not go outside and do something. I actually came out here a little bit earlier this morning, and I started just looking at things and taking a walk around because the weather was perfect. And I mean, the beautiful sun, the sunshine just makes all of the difference, you guys. Just looking at things, deciding, you know, what I want to do, what I want to change, what I want to add. This is the perfect time right now for me here in central Indiana. This is the perfect time to just look at things and decide what I want to do this year. You know, if a plan is not really making me happy, if it's not, you know, doing it for me, as I call it, then it just needs to go, and I need to figure out, you know, who I am going to give that plan. My mom or my sisters, or put it on the curve if I don't want to go through the trouble. My family live about 3 hours north. They live closer to Chicago, so it's always a hustle trying to bring plants, you know, that you have to dig out of the ground and all of that. And not only that, but I have to time it right, because I cannot just bring them the plants and, you know, keep them over there until the ground is okay to be able to plant. But it's just too much work sometimes. And sometimes I just put, you know, the plant on the corner with the free sign on it, and it doesn't even last a day. But I just wanted to make this video because I feel like a lot of us, especially at this time of the year, are looking at our gardens, and, you know, if we are starting seeds, we are starting slowly collecting all of those seedlings that we want to put in our gardens, in our flower beds, in our raised beds. And sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm just, you know, especially now, I just come out here and I have so many things to do. I'm making just a mental list of things that I wanna do, that I should do, even things that I wanted to do last year that I didn't get to do. But one of the most important things right now that I have to start thinking about right now is about adding compost or adding amendments to my raised beds, because those seedlings that I have growing inside, all of my flowers and vegetables, are going to need a place to go here the first week of May. And the beds are gonna have to be ready for that. And before that happens, before I can actually purchase the compost or the amendments, whatever it is that I'm going to add to those beds, which, by the way, I already checked the prices, and my goodness, they are about double in price from last year. Incredible. So before I can even get to that part of ordering something and have it delivered, I need to make sure that my beds are ready for it. And one of the things that I'm looking at, especially this corner that I'm looking at right now, I am deciding that I want to add a really tall raised bed. I am deciding whether that raised bed is going to be made out of wood or metal, and if so, what are the dimensions going to be. If I wanted to go with metal, Can I find the dimensions for it? Do I want it to come around that garage? That garage, you guys, is, my goodness, it is definitely a work in progress. As many of you know, this house is a fixer-upper, and priorities. If you own a house, you know that sometimes you just gotta go with the flow, but that garage is definitely an eyesore. And it's not quite finished. It's not what I wanted it to be, but it's definitely not on the list of priorities when it comes to fixing or renovating things in this house. But anyway, I am deciding what I want to do there, that, you know, it's not going to be a huge deal for when we need to tackle that project of rebuilding the garage. So just little things like that I have to take into consideration when deciding what I want to do. That hydrangea there in the corner, that's a little limelight hydrangea. It's supposed to be a shorty. That's really tall, and I think that's supposed to get that tall, but she kind of takes over that whole path. It kind of blocks the path, honestly, that goes towards the back of the garage in between my raised beds and that wall. So I'm going to have to move it. I don't know if I have a place for it, so that might be something that it goes to my mom, because she loves hydrangeas. So that's something that she's probably going to enjoy. Things like that. I just gotta get a couple of days that I have good weather that allows me to be out here, that allows me to be digging in the soil, and just, you know, just cleaning. My goodness, I am looking at my bed with the gorgeous diamond trellis that I have right there. If you guys want to know about that trellis, I have 2 trellises there installed. Trellis? I don't know what the plural that will be for that, but I have 2 pieces on that wall, one next to each other, that my husband installed, and I absolutely adore that trellis. That honeysuckle that is growing there, it is massive. Last year I decided not to prune any part of it, any part of the plant after it bloomed. I just let it be, and that thing doubled in size. And I had a bird nest there last year that these birds made, and it was a tiny little thing, and since then I just noticed they had been adding to it, which is, it's huge. So at some point after it blooms this spring, I'm gonna have to prune that honeysuckle really strong and heavy, because I'm afraid that it's just going to keep on growing and that thing is just going to be covered there, which it wouldn't be necessarily a bad thing, but I just gotta make sure that I have control over it. But that bit alone, where my water fountain is, it needs cleaning. I have tulips coming up. I have dead perennials that they just need lots of cleaning, just, you know, tidying up. And days like today are perfect for things like that, because it can allow me to be outside working, but also it helps me to get, you know, ahead of the game for when I really need to get things done. Isn't this fun though, looking at your garden and deciding what you want to do, you know, the things that you want to add, if you want to start adding more or getting rid of things because they didn't work out. But I think it's just such a fun thing, and that's what gardening allows me to do. It allows me to, one, be physical and be outside, you know, working, but I don't know, if you're a creative person, if you consider yourself somewhat creative, it's a way for you to get your creativity going. And my goodness, I just love that. One thing that it worries me though, with this weather being a little bit on the warmer side, is my winter sowing. And I say that it worries me because with the temperatures being on the warmer side, like today we're supposed to get to like 64, 65. We're going down tomorrow, we're going down to the 40s. But with the weather today, I mean, my seeds that I have in those containers are going to start thinking about waking up, and especially longer periods of multiple days in a row with those warm weather. with those warmer days, and the seeds can start thinking about, start to germinate. And when the real weather, the real winter weather hits here in Indiana, then it's going to be a problem. But I'm just going to let them be. Honestly, I mentioned that a lot of those seeds are okay if they don't germinate. I mean, I'm completely okay. If I have one of those days where it's devastating, that is absolutely cold, that is really, really cold, I might just bring those under my back porch and cover them with something just to give them a little bit of extra protection. But I'm not going to worry. I can't just worry like that on every little thing in my garden. We had some crazy, crazy temperatures the week after Christmas here in central Indiana. And I think that a huge part of the country went through those temperatures, really, really cold temperatures. We got in the -12, I think, -12. And I know that I probably lost a few perennials. I mean, a few things that probably didn't do well. I had a lot of things under my hoop house there that were kind of going slowly, but they were going. They didn't make it through those temperatures. It was just going to be crazy, crazy cold for that plastic to be protecting those little seedlings there. And I lost most of the things. Although a few of the cilantro things that were already growing, they didn't mind. And cilantro is proven to be one of those herbs in my garden that is just a warrior, and I love it because I love cilantro. I'm just getting over a cold, so my voice sounds a little weird sometimes. So lots of things to consider here in the garden when it comes to preparing for the spring. The main thing for me right now is just making sure that I have those raised beds prepared for the vegetables. Just keeping an eye on things. Hopefully things come back the way they're supposed to come back. I have a lot of things that are blooming in the spring. I have a Korean spice viburnum that I see the buds are already forming. I have a huge hedge right behind the camera. I have a huge hedge of lilacs, Korean lilacs, that's what they are. And I also have a bridal wreath spirea. Those are the 3 shrubs that I have that will be blooming in the spring. And I say that, and I mention those because 2 years ago, about the beginning of April, we had a massive snowstorm, and we got really, really cold temperatures, and it just made that snow really heavy, and it was a really, really hit on my garden during that time because all of those shrubs that were already forming the buds for the flowers to bloom, the blooms just got fried and nothing bloomed. I didn't get any lilacs that year, and my spirea barely bloomed here and there. I'll show you pictures of those shrubs in the spring because last year I didn't get any damage and they bloom magnificent. And every spring, right about this time, and when I see those buds starting to form on the branches, I think to myself, don't get too excited because the weather can happen and I might not get any blooms. But hopefully if we still get some temperatures that are really, really bad, hopefully they are not too bad that they damage my shrubs. Look at that, I have a lot of hyacinth bean seeds, lots of them. I have plans for these guys. These are green beans, and these are Cantaloupe beans from my garden from last year. And same thing, I just grab a bunch, I put them here, and the same thing, I just waited until the pods were nice and dry on the vines, and I collected a bunch, and I just put them in a bag, in a brown paper bag, because I knew that I didn't have the time to work on the seeds. So they are nice and dry right now, and it is the perfect thing for me to do on a day like this. as I am looking at my green stock that I have there, which I put together late in the fall last year, I am deciding if I want to set up the other one that I have on the other side of that arbor. And I'm still debating on that because I already have it. I have that beautiful, beautiful green stock in a box. The reason why I got those green stocks in the first place is because I have a bed, my original bed, all the way on the back of that arbor that I am going to be basically giving away. The space, I'm going to be giving it away because I am going to plant a bunch of asparagus. And by the way, I have to get those asparagus ordered because I'm going to forget about them. I am going to be basically giving away the space for that raised bed, so I decided to just get more space, more growing space. And for people that don't have the space to grow on the ground or on raised beds, that don't have that, little piece of land, I think that growing vertical is definitely a must, especially if you have just like a back patio or a deck where you don't really have a space where to put a raised bed or a huge planter. Then I think that you should definitely look into grabbing something that helps you grow up, because it really can give you a lot of space to grow flowers or vegetables. And when I was looking for something, I came into the green stock, and everybody seemed to love it, and I just went with it. And first of all, I love the color. I think that green it's probably the best shade of green. It's just perfect. So I have another one. I'm deciding if I need to add another one to the other side. I'm still debating on that. But if I don't put the other one together, I'll probably give it to my mom because she can definitely use it. And by the way, I believe that they are having a sale for those green stocks, and I have a coupon that you can also use on top of the sale. So if you guys have been thinking about getting a green stock for you or a loved one, check it out and see if the price is doable for you. Are you guys doing anything major for your gardens? Are you guys adding a bunch of raised beds, or are you guys adding a bunch of shrubs or trees? Did you just move into a house where you're excited to start growing flowers or vegetables, or is this the first year that you're actually starting to grow things from seed? Let me know, because it's so exciting, you guys. When the weather starts giving you a little bit of a taste of what's coming, especially after a long, long winter, which is how I feel anyway. It's the feeling of just wanting to be outside doing something, whether that's cleaning or organizing or dreaming, is amazing. And I am one of the lucky ones, I guess, to being able to do this. Before I keep on boring you with my thoughts and all this talking with my grumpy sounding voice, I am going to let you go. I'm going to continue working on these beans because I want to make sure that I have plenty, and I think that I do. I think that I definitely have plenty here for this year anyway, and then I'll make sure to collect more this year because definitely it's not going to be enough for a couple of years. Thank you for being here, you guys, and until the next time.